What's going on, everybody? I'm 8 minutes behind. My apologies. My day didn't go as I planned. Nothing is wrong. Just playing catch up, unpacking, finding all my AV equipment. You wouldn't believe the work that goes into looking this mediocre, you know. So look, I didn't even put on my coat. I've been running. I don't know where my coat is. So the show goes on. My apologies for the 8-minute delay, but I promise you the show will go on. We'll make it up to you. We got QBall Morphs tonight. That's Wayne and Natalie from out in Oregon. Those of y'all that don't know from the thumbnail, PNW is Pacific Northwest. We met in person at Tinley. We had conversed a little bit, but to be honest with you, we're going to get to know each other a little bit tonight. I don't know them really well. They came in they committed to the show, not quite at the last minute, but kind of on the fly. And it's really cool. They are friends with people that I do know pretty well. And they also, they got a pretty good presence. And I saw them carrying around some pretty cool stuff at Tinley, and we hit it off right away. So we'll dive into all of that. We'll talk about the Tinley experience from an attendee's point of view. And then on Thursday morning with Joe, I'll dive into all the, stuff as a vendor. It was a pretty wild weekend from a vendor standpoint. From my vendor standpoint, I had a really odd situation with, my table placement. It was, I can't say given to me. I paid for the table. It was made possible by REDLINE, and it was a little bit interesting. So we'll dive into all that. I'll even get into numbers and everything. That's Thursday morning with Joe. You can catch the replay if you're not up at 7:30 on East Coast time. Thanks for being here. We got 22 people. I didn't even have a chance to read the comments, and I already see Dale apologizing. Yeah, I know. Me snoozing. I'm known for being lazy and not really doing too much. So sorry, I'm just laughing. It's good to see everybody. We're not going to go through reading everybody's names. We got a show to get to. So yeah, Tinley was great. We'll pick it apart. We'll talk about that. That's really all the announcements, the biggest ones. I've got Justin from Pressure Pythons in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, huge thanks. He raised up and hatched 4 clutches of eggs for me. And today he put them on a plane to Minneapolis. So tomorrow I get to go see 16 babies that I haven't seen before other than on camera. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be cool. Huge thanks to Justin. He's in the chat. Go give him a follow on Instagram. That doesn't cost you anything. Go help him out. So I'm looking forward to that. Hey, get this. Next week, Bob Vu's going to be on. Bob will be the guest next week. The week following, we got Jersey guys. Bob. Jersey guys, great couple guys. They had a run-in with, I don't think I'm saying anything that's private. We're going to talk about it on the show anyway. They had a run-in with FWC down in Daytona. We'll pick that apart. And they were at Tinley. I don't know how they got a table before me. I got to ask them about that too. So they'll be on in 2 weeks, and then got some cool guests lined up. That's another great thing about Tinley is catching up with everybody. So last but not least on the announcements, 2 people. A very, very big thanks to Robin Markland, the REDLINE shipping team. You guys know I'm a fan of them, but that's sort of a business arrangement. On a personal level, that was just a really great weekend, a really kind gesture on his part and his team's part. And we did get to finish on Sunday with a, when I say nice, I mean a nice time together of a dinner. It was we went out for Indian food. They didn't even serve beer at an Indian restaurant. Oh, all I wanted was a beer so bad after the basically 4 days of Tinley, but certainly 3. So huge thanks to Robin. Secondly, Chris at B and S Reptilia, also a sponsor of the show. But let me tell you, I couldn't have done it without him this weekend. I don't want to dive into the story too deep, but we had cooked up a plan that we were going to try and figure out how to get into Tinley one way or another, working all different angles. And just happened to be that Robin called me out of the blue, and I said, Chris, come on, I'm going to stay loyal. And that's what our plan was. So come on and vend. he made the lodging possible. The table worked on my end, and then he was just a great guy to vend with and to work with and to ride with and all of that. So thank you to Chris and Jen for letting me crash at their place as well. So with all that being said, QBall Morphs from the Pacific Northwest. I don't know a whole lot about them other than what I see on Instagram, and that we really kind of clicked in person. It was just a, you know, when you feel it, it's just like, hey, these are cool people. I want to hang out with them. And the other thing that I really liked was they're like, what? This seems like a cool fit. Why don't we do a show sometime? I was like, yes, why don't we do a show sometime? So we're going to learn more, and we'll talk about the Tinley experience. We'll talk about what's going on in the Pacific Northwest, because I know there's a cool scene cooking up there. And then I want to know what they're buying, because I didn't get all the details, but I have a little idea of one of the things they bought. And if I know about the one thing that they bought, I'm going to learn about the other things that they're buying at in a market like this. So for the very first time ever, please welcome Wayne and Natalie from QBall Morphs. We're going to find out where in Oregon, but from Oregon to the properroyals stage. How are you all?
Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad that that you all came on. A lot of times after these big shows, I end up doing like a solo recap, and to be honest, I'm still fried. I got back yesterday. It's a lot of work. I drove home, and you guys know I was just hanging out with y'all like 36 hours ago, I think, maybe even literally. So welcome to the stage, though. I'm glad to have you.
Well, glad to be here. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So let's back all the way up. Give us a little bit of an introduction. I don't want to go back to, like, you know, when you were 4 and you held a garter snake out in the woods one time, but give us an introduction of what you got going on, and let's introduce you to everybody properly here.
Go ahead, babe.
All right. Well, I guess you can say the ball python business and reptile business in general started back in 2005 for us. After having kids, we put things on hold because I felt like we needed to give all of our attention to our babies. And as our boys grew older, they kind of learned about our history with snakes and exotic animals in general. And they decided that's completely unfair and unjust, and you should definitely have reptiles and include us. And so I guess that was in 2013, 14 maybe.
Yeah.
We slowly got back into it. Honestly, originally it was a homeschooling project for our oldest, because we were homeschooling our boys at the time. And this man over here doesn't do anything small. And because we had previous experience, we decided to go full force again, and then some. So
2014, that's longer than I realized. That's a decade.
Yeah. Well, we got out of it. Like she said, when we got our children, had our children. So we were not doing it for a very long time. My son came to me when he was like 6 years old. He could tell you any snake from venomous to garter snake. And I mean, he knew everything about it. And he came to me, he was like, Dad, can we do a school project? And I was like, well, we're going to have to ask your mom that. Because honestly, I was scared of snakes. And when we were in it in the back time, Natalie took care of everything. And so she was like, if we're going to do this, I'm not doing nothing.
It's yours.
It's my gig. So I had to man up. I had to man up for my son and act like, I can do this.
Right.
The truth of the matter was it turned into a passion for me and him. And then after I did it for a couple of years, my wife got back into it with us.
Yep, he proved himself. He would actually be there. And he is.
The proving time was years. That's a tall. I can't let my wife watch this episode. She can't get years long proving times, and that's oh man.
But here we are today. It's amazing. The things that are being produced and the things that we can do today. It's just so different when we first got into it to what it is today,
like,
you know.
Just for a small example, clowns were like the newest, biggest thing. Like just
I was going to say, what would, what was the
25,000? Yeah.
Okay. So those were the top at the time.
Those were the time. Yep. Those were the times. You know, even black pastels and things along those lines were just
10K for a pewter back then, you know. 10K for a pewter, you know. So it's just like
it's crazy, and it's the ever-changing game. But we love to be a part of it. But mostly, like the snakes itself, and you know, all the genetics and the producing is amazing. But the biggest part for myself is the community that it brings, and you know, basically becoming really good family with the other people in the industry, and it's fun.
You know, the community aspect, and just so everybody in the audience knows, we didn't do much show prep, but I did do this show prep, and I don't want to get into details or anything, but one of the ways that I know you is how the community, what felt like, rallied around you all. I'll say 2-3 months ago. Again, I don't want to get into it. The audience, you all can go check out Instagram page, or if you don't know, you know, we talk whatever it might be. But how's your son doing? It looks like I saw some good recovery pictures. It looked like he was sharp in a tie and a shirt and everything. How's he doing?
He's doing great, you know. So he was called a 3%er, like he wasn't supposed to really survive you know, the incident that happened with him. And so to be grateful that he even survived is just a miracle to me. But to see where he is right now, to see where he is just, it's amazing. And I don't think that really, you know, he would be where he is if I didn't have all the blessings and all the love from the community that, you know, gathered around with their prayers and just all the positive feedback and this wonderful chain with all the positive stuff, man. Took my son, a 3%er, and made him right now, you know, sitting at 75-80%, you know, individual, you know, and you know, so right now he's home, you know, he's doing in and out patient, rehab, you know. So I mean, you know, by God's will, he may make that 100% recovery. You know, but
I can't imagine as a father and a parent, but I'm so happy to hear that, and I will admit to you all and acknowledge, when I was talking with you all at Tinley, I said, I think this is the family that had that was struck by that tragedy. And I said, I'm not 100% sure. And I said, you know what? I don't know what I should say. And I said, you know what? That can't stand. And that's really why I brought it up. But I just want to let you know, I'm just so happy to hear the outcome. We're so happy to see the improvements and the sort of the recovery pictures. And you're right, the community is around you, and that was truly my first introduction to you all, was the community circling around you.
Yeah,
it was comforting, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm so, like, really, I'm humble for it all, and like there ain't words for it. Like I'm kind of like speechless. I don't even know how to give the gratitude and love that, you know, I just don't know how to do it. You know, I just feel I want to give so much any way I possibly can back, you know, and I'm just, you know, like I said, I'm so grateful for everybody out there, and, you know, I have nothing bad to say about our community. Everybody's back and forth wells on, you know, it doesn't concern me really. I
was going to say that makes that stuff. Yeah, that makes that stuff not even, you know, and I would venture to bet, I don't know, but in the little bit of time that we spent together, I would venture to bet you spent a lot of time in your actions putting down payments throughout your whole life on all the support that you all got back. That like I say, sometimes things just click with me, and I truly, I was just like, these are good people. Like, I want to hang out with them. I don't have to vet them or worry what's going to happen on the show. So, thanks. I thought I would be remiss if I didn't bring that up. And I know that there's so much care and love in the community for you all that I thought that we should just touch on it. And I know that I know you all are dealing with, there's a whole lot more to the family recovery, the mental health, the stress, the exhaustion, the care, the concern, all of that combined in one, the relief, all of that. So we can move on to happier times, but I'm so happy, and God bless y'all. And I'll leave that there.
Much to be grateful for.
Yeah. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. So how was that your first Tinley that you all had ever attended?
That was my first.
Mine too.
Okay, cool. So what was like, like you all, I can't report on what it's been like in years past, but what was your experience this year? What are things that stuck out to you, to people that haven't been to Tinley, what, or that have been, and you just want to share stuff. What was your impression? What was your feeling as attendees?
Well, my impression was, it's big, definitely big, crowded. I'm not gonna lie, walking through the aisles is like, you're just so close, there's so many people. So it's like fighting sometimes, and it's not a fight, but it's like waiting 15, 20 minutes for somebody to move on to go in to look at something, you know what I mean? So within saying that, it's like almost any other show though, but I feel that those aisles are just a little thin. That's the only, but
they put a lot of people. I hear in Daytona that they say there's not enough people in each room, that they could pack more people in. And at Tinley, I was like, wow. I mean, I got neither of the places I ended up were crowded, which is a miracle to say, but, and I'm throwing that word around loosely, but yeah, I was walking through on the second day, and I went around the corner, and there was like a T in the aisle. They were just like, well, I guess this guy's getting in, and it wasn't even like right angles or I was like, wow, it's a little much.
Yeah. It was like,
it was so exciting at the same time because so many people, so much networking. I'm pretty sure that we didn't even get around the whole expo or even say hi to as many people as we wanted to, but it was incredible. And we spent hours, like both days, and he was even there Friday. I missed Friday. But there's just so much to see and so many people to talk to.
For me is I don't know where everybody is, and here's booth 1402 or here's booth this
right.
and booth that, and I'm like, well, where are the numbers at? I can't, I don't, my first time being there was like running a maze. So I think that was the most difficult part for me. It was, trying to stay on track of where I was here. And then if I had to go to the bathroom or something like that, and then lose my spot where I was looking, and so I'm pretty sure I missed a few people, not purposely, just because of, how it was. But, I ran into a million people though, that, well, not, what I mean, but,
yeah.
That I knew and that knew me, and it's amazing the people that, you really don't see in your area, that you go to, somewhere clear across the world to this spot that, that is an awesome gathering, and you run into these faces that you've only seen on, Instagram or, Facebook and that, and it's so inviting and it's so wonderful, and I get pictures with all these people that, man, I finally get to meet you, finally get to meet you, and, it's just such a good feeling and a friendly atmosphere that, I enjoy it so much, and hope one day that I can sit by a couple of my mentors in there and sell snakes right next to them and be their competition. Just joking. Just joking, really.
It'll happen, man. That surreal feeling was sort of magnified for me, and there was the flip side of it. So I had just recently moved to Minnesota, and so there's a lot of the Midwest people that I haven't seen and met and I hadn't met before. And so I was meeting all of them, and then it was kind of surreal because guys like Dale and Steve Casino, Jeremy Bod, George MD, and Miguel, they all drove up, and I was like, man, if I didn't know, like if I didn't step out the front doors, we could be anywhere on this planet, and here we are in person again. And I'm sure you all felt that way coming from the Pacific Northwest. It's probably just magnified that scene. But you're right about the networking, and it's funny because I always hear people say, well, if you don't sell much, you can always network, and there's other business to do, and shows aren't necessarily about the money. To me, they're kind of about the money. I have to admit, like I at least know where I stand on costs, and it's not a hobby to me. It is a business. I like it. I enjoy it, but I'm tracking things. So there's a little extra pressure on me, but I have to say it's the first time I've been advertising for Redline and Cold Blooded now for a year each. And it was the first time I'd ever met Robin in person. And I think I spent not more than 5 minutes with Desiree, the owner of Cold Blooded Cafe, in person. And then there was a time that all three of us were standing talking together. And I was like, well, here we are, so you're right. The networking and the opportunities that way are really, really cool. And hey, look, you guys are the first ones in that like even quadrant of the United States to be wearing proper royal shirts too.
Oh, yes,
that's right.
One of our favorite Tinley pickups.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Wow, Dale says he thinks he'll fly up and hang out next time instead of vending. Now, I did the drive from Jacksonville to Minnesota, so I mean, I know what a grueling drive that is. I'm surprised though. It was what was your feel? Did you all feel, now I know you all were consumers, you were buying there. What did you feel about Kelly got his shirt too. What did you all feel about the pricing, the availability, the selection? Did it live up to the expectations? Did it feel like, well, it's good? I mean, we know it's good. We know it's amazing, but was it like,
well,
Magic Genie amazing?
I can say that he's gone to several of like the bigger shows independently while I stayed home with the kids. And I told him ahead of time, we probably need to, lay low. And well, I guess we did bigger shopping than I would have ever thought, good choice for him, I guess, if that makes sense. It was exciting. There was so much variety.
So it's funny because she's like, we're going up there and we're not spending no money. And,
yeah,
and
I did say that.
And I'm like, okay. So, and we get there and, there she goes. She starts off and runs by this sterling puzzle female. And the next thing you know, that was the first purchase she made. And I'm like, okay, I ain't made enough, we're just, we bought 11 snakes.
11? I didn't know you bought that many. Goodness. But so what did you, so you like this?
I didn't realize it either.
I didn't.
Was that?
I was networking.
Yeah, you were networking. They were happy to network with you. Were you, now was that price and select, price coming down and the selection intersecting?
Was amazing. The price was phenomenal. I mean,
you know the market right now. And this is the best time
to be buying. I really believe so, because we all know that the market will come back. I've been doing this long enough. I'm not a 20-year guy, or maybe I am from way back in the day, but mine's broken up. But I can tell you that I've watched it always, and it always comes back. So, I see snakes that sold their, that's just, I'll just give a hypothetical, $1,500 that, last year was you know, 45, 5,500, you know, and we all know that here, you know, next couple more years, or even maybe doing the, you know, elections, stuff may change again, and the market comes back, and you're going to see this stuff that everybody's buying for 1,500 that was worth 45, 5,500 is going to go back up there, being back worth the, you know, 35, 40, you know, $4,000. So it's like, yeah, right now is the best time. Everybody's offloading. You got a lot of people scared of the market, you know, selling their collections off or just trying to get out from under all their stuff. And I'm sitting back and, you know, I'm riding the ride.
Yeah. And you know, I know that, well, first, none of us could predict, you know, crystal ball predict the future, but I do believe markets fluctuate. We know that from every other market on the planet. So why would this be different? I don't know that the convergence of a pandemic and a little bit of extra money and all the extra time for people to get into new hobbies and caring for new companions because they were stuck inside and all these, you know, pandemic related details will come back. But I do believe that there will be market fluctuations just from simple supply and demand. We hear,
right?
I mean, literally daily on Instagram now, I see either massive chunks of collections being sold or, hey, we're closing up shop collections being sold. And that is going to trickle down and trickle into a difference in supply and demand, and there'll be those economic ripples from that, and that's my belief. So yes, I am still a buyer right now. Amazingly, I can't believe I didn't come home from Tinley with anything new. But well, no, I knew I had I have 4 clutches in the mail from Florida. I have another clutch with Shannon down in Orlando or Daytona in Florida. I've got a clutch up at the farm that was laid when I was moving. So that clutch is still there. And then I've got 2 in the incubator. I was like, I didn't have room for another snake right now. So
fair.
Yeah. You know, somebody who has been around a very long time is Dale. And Dale says it's time to buy if you have space and money. You know, I think the long term is good. I also, you know, the famous quote from Chris Eaton, when we say long term, a lot of people don't know what 2 or 3 years feels like. It's that long term, you know. But
yeah, hold on.
Yeah, but look how fast things change. I mean, October 2021. I mean, people were printing money. We were dreaming. Like it's heaven, right? Look how fast that changed. You know, it could change that fast again.
It did change fast. And, you know, we're not like producing huge time right now because we're a little, you know, there's some uncertainty in it, but also this is the time to be doing the investing and moving things along and growing stuff up and, you know, figuring out your projects.
Yeah. And I think even, you know, to steal a line from Jessica at Holdback Rack, there's the idea of dollar cost averaging. That's the one thing. The other thing is if you're buying combos and you're going to pair them to other combos, and then you're going to average making 6 of whatever comes out of those combos, in theory, the results are going to be better and there's going to be more of them because you don't just get 1 egg per snake. So you can even overcome a declining market if you have a way to sell snakes and move them. So I think all of those things are worth considering. Speaking of, what do you all see? What's the best way that I see that you all move and sell snakes? I take it that you do. I take it you don't keep them all.
Mostly our local shows.
Yeah, I vend. I'm a sponsor for the Packers Northwest Reptile show, so I sponsor that and vend every one of them. So you know,
we have 6 a year currently.
Yeah, 6 a year currently, and
it is also a very good time.
You know, and you know, they're doing adding 2 more, you know, sooner or later. So that's 8. You know, and so within saying that, you know, I don't post, and you know, I don't use Morph Market a whole lot. You know, I do put animals on there, and but most of my sales honestly are, you know, at the shows. but it's, you know, it was an earned, you know, I hustle, you know, and what I mean by that is I put my love into it, you know, and I'm at every show. I don't miss them unless, you know, I'm something crazy, you know, goes on in my life, which I ain't missed one yet, knock on wood.
Wow.
But, you know, I mean, that was even with my son's stuff, that was my kind of,
Our healthy
my
distraction.
healthy distraction,
Right.
you know, was
right. Yep.
that one show during there, you know, because I was sitting by his side, you know, pretty much all the time, you know, and, you know, we lost out on our whole summer, we lost out on everything. And so realistically, you know, that show, you know, kind of got me out of that realm and gave me another scene around all that I love. So my point to that is it's more a hobby for me. It's also a job. And, you know, I with the investment that I have in, I need to at least make my investment back. You know, I don't care if, you know, I make a whole lot of money as long as I can break even and have a good dang time, because that's not what I make my money on. I make my money because, you know, I own a couple businesses. So, you know, that's why I do it. It's more out of love. I did it for my son. QBall Morphs is named after Quentin. That's my son who did it.
Okay. Got it. All right. I was going to ask. Yep. I didn't know if that was like a hard-earned nickname or what. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, so I kind of built this for him. We started this together. It was mine and his. But you know, he's turned into a teenager now. He's kind of
he's taken some detours, but we do feel that he'll come back around. And obviously, we're passionate enough. It's okay.
Right.
You know, you brought up a couple points in there talking about the shows. One being both in my own life, my mother passed away of cancer and was in hospice care for quite some time, and I was at her side, and I actually cherished that I was able to do that. But when I got back, I worked like crazy, and I needed to work because I needed my community, I needed the people around me, and I needed to not sit still. I needed the healthy outlet because the unhealthy outlets are far worse than anything that could come from the healthy ones, right? So there's that piece, and I totally empathize with that. But I love the point you said about hustling at the shows. You don't miss them, and that's how I really got the ball rolling in Florida. That's where I felt like I turned a corner. And I know that there's a huge debate over how much money do you really make at shows, and if you think about the time and the overhead and this and that, well, you got to find a way. You find a way to get your expenses down, and you find a way to connect and build your own community. And one of the things that I thought was smart at the time, and in retrospect, it has been smart, was that I signed up for like 8 shows in Florida over 6 months. I paid for them up front because I didn't want to have a bad show and go, I'm never going to do that again. And I didn't want to have a good show and think, you know, all right, I'm going to make $1 million. And I was up for that part of it if that happened, but that didn't happen. But what did happen was just what you're talking about. People start seeing you and recognizing you at the show. And the first show, when you're the new guy, they look at you, and then they see the second show. He said, hey, he's back again. He's got clean snakes. Those are neat snakes. Oh, maybe I like that one. Third time, you know, I want to check that guy out. And suddenly it was a really dependable, you know, there's always still ups and downs, but it was really gaining momentum. And one of the things that I was, and Wayne, you'll really understand this. We didn't even brush on this topic yet, but one of the big things that I was most concerned about leaving Florida was the show establishment the circuit that I had established with the reptile shows, but also as a professional musician, you know, the drama and the politics that go into getting gigs. You know, yes. I was playing 70 to usually 60 to 80 shows a year. And that's 1 to 2 a week. And that takes a lot of work to get. I mean, it's such a competitive market and such a competitive cutthroat. Not to mention you're dealing with bar owners and, you know, drunk bartenders and all of that booking stuff. So anyway, I am in the process of recreating that. So that's why I did Davenport, Iowa a couple of weeks ago. I got 2 weeks. I got 2 shows back to back. They're all one-day shows. So I got a Saturday and a Sunday show.
Nice.
One in Minnesota, one in Wisconsin the very next day. But that's what I'm jumping out, going after here.
Sweet.
Yeah. How big are those shows? Now, if there's 6 or 8 of them, how is that 6 or 8 different cities, or is it like 2 shows twice a year in 3 cities?
So it started off at 2 shows in the same spot twice a year. And then we added 2 different shows, in 2 different spots. So it's starting to get to where, it's different spots. So, but
now, are you a partner on that? I heard you say we. Are you a partner on the promotion?
No, well, I'm not a partner on any promotion on it, so say, but I know the guy pretty well, and he's really great at advertising, man. He does all the billboards. He does all, me and Natalie, we're one of those guys, kick us down these flyers, kick us down this stuff. And we'll also go out there and we'll pass all this stuff throughout our pet stores and, people we know that we could put the signs on their, lawns and businesses and so forth. So, we promote it as much as we can, even though I'm on top of sponsoring it, so, and, I have not a problem with it, we've never really, thank God, has never really, been in the black or in the red. I mean, from it, we've always done well, never, went, so within saying that, I have to thank them though, one of my mentors gave me a table with him, and he was the guy that everybody knows around here. His name's, Doug Day from Bad Reptiles. And, I met him when me and my son got into it, and he was probably the first guy I bought a $5,000 snake from, and, when we first met, he was like, and I ended up buying all his racks during that time. And he's like, when he met me, he's like, he was kind of standoffish, and because
people come and go.
Yeah, he was standoffish. He's like, people come and go.
Yeah.
And so he didn't really converse to like a friend type deal with me at first.
Until you stuck around.
And right. So after my first clutch, I think what we have 50 snakes or something like that.
The first year, and not the clutch alone, but
but we had
a year for this whole season.
Right, but we had 25 clutches our first time.
It was intense.
And I was
that's a steep curve for the first season. 25 clutches.
I was overwhelmed, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do like, oh my gosh, what did I? It almost made me quit. I'm not kidding you. I was like, I knew nothing about, getting these things eating, this and that. And really, I didn't get a lot of help at the beginning with that. So my wife, on a serious note, had to, force feed probably 92% of them.
Oh, and,
no. Yeah, it was horrific. So I can't force feed nothing. My hands sweat too bad. So, it just slips through my hands, so it doesn't work. So, when she had to do that, she wasn't happy, and which didn't make me happy because she wasn't happy. When she ain't happy, I can't be happy. So within saying that, it almost made me quit the first year. But the second year, I was like, something's got to be done about this. So, I started leaving my babies in the incubator longer. And the next thing you know, everything started to eat.
Yeah.
And so, now I have my own way of doing it, which probably everybody done it the whole way that way anyway.
We're just ignorant.
We were, but, so we got it under control to where, we don't hardly have to force feed, but maybe 1 or 2%.
Right.
So, So I mean, but it definitely was a hard one to deal with when she had the
learning curve.
It was,
and that's when you really rely on your community to guide and enlighten you on all of the tricks of the trade.
But anyway, Doug Day got me at that table and kind of put me under his arm and guided me and got me where I am today. And that's I thank him for all of it, because I wouldn't be where I am. We became very good friends. He's like one of my bestest friends in this field, and he's there for me anytime I need him. He even calls me now to help him ID his stuff.
Oh, cool.
So it's funny. It's funny how things
all
comes around. And anytime he comes, he knew a way to Arizona. He's coming to this show here next. I got a show this coming week, and he's coming here. And anytime he's here, we share a table together. It's not about competition. It's not about that. It's all about having a good time, being with the people you love, and
I lost them. I thought we were sensing a little bit of lag there. While we they'll jump back on. QBall will be back. Let me, what we'll do is we'll do the pay the bills segment. You all heard me say earlier, but I'll say it again. The experience with Cold Blooded and REDLINE was absolutely phenomenal. I'm thankful for their support, and truly, two things I discovered this weekend. One I've always known, that they make it possible for me to do this show. They've made my life easier, giving me a little bit of a competitive edge, and it means I can breathe a little bit easier on some expenses and things like that. What I found this weekend, though, is that big relationships grow from small ones, and our relationships are expanding, and I believe that they will continue to. So REDLINE Shipping, make sure you check them out. One of the greatest compliments I heard given to them this weekend was, your site's just easier to use. It's a better customer service all around. The prices are great, and the security and safety of your snakes, even if they were $1 or $2 more, I could tell you that their customer service is phenomenal, and you're going to have a really, really great experience. Use the promo code PROPER5 to save $5 off of your next shipping label. And speaking of community audience, you all have a lot to do with me having that table at Tinley, because Judy, who is kind of the one that runs things at REDLINE behind the scenes, she said that my promo code is always at the top, and or at the very near the very top, but generally is in that 1 or 2 position, and others will like peak and kind of have a pop and then fall off, but Proper 5 is always there. So thanks for everything. I subtly tried to get a new code in case you've already used up Proper 5. I'll see what I could do. I wasn't successful this time, but I am working on more value for you all as the viewers. Okay. It is not lost on me. Secondly, Cold Blooded Cafe, use the promo code Proper10. They're going to give you 10% off of your next order. And likewise, same very exact conversation, except no caveat. Proper 10 is the #1 most redeemed. We've brought down the most business, and that gives, transparently speaking, that gives me leverage to increase opportunity. So I want to thank you all very, very much for that. That makes a massive difference in my life. Kelly, thank you so much. That makes a difference in my life. That will help pay for the drywall sanding stick that I went out and bought, because I've had enough of the room renovation and I got to complete that job. So I went and took care of that. Kelly, thank you so much. Chris at B and S Reptilia, multiple reptiles, many, many species. This weekend at Tinley, I learned what northern pine snakes were, bull snakes. They're not exactly the same thing. I learned that because Chris was vending those. He has ball pythons, he has boas, he has a variety of colubrids, and I forgot I was really proud of myself for learning a new Latin name, and it escapes me. I did not show prep properly. Go check out Chris at B and S Reptilia. He is also the Pennsylvania distributor for the chipper hell of a good guy, super knowledgeable, my partner in crime at Tinley. I couldn't be more thankful for Chris. Go support him as well. Last but not least, Keith at Creative Genetics. He checks in on me often. I do have one of his snakes. I have a Xanthic Het Clown male from him. Keith just hatched a clutch of stranger combos, and they are all 50% triple het. And again, I'm sorry you saw me. I was 8 minutes late, which meant I was a little bit behind on my show prep. I believe those are clown Xanthic. Those are clown pied hypos is what I believe. Those are 50% triple het stranger combos. So check out Keith at Creative Genetics. Everybody's links are down below in the description, including QBall Morphs. That is Wayne and Natalie out of Oregon up in the Pacific Northwest. So we're back to the show. We got the guests back on, and we're going to make the most of technology and timing challenges tonight. Here we are.
I'm sorry, man. It's so windy here right now that it's just like.
Yeah, we live in a very rural area of Oregon, so that does not help us either.
Wind still affects your internet connection?
Yeah, because we're so obsolete, right? You know, Oregon's so far behind, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's terrible where we're at.
And I didn't say that in a condemning way. I lived in rural North Carolina in the mountains where like the electricity would fluctuate if the wind came, you know, because none of all the power lines were still above ground rather than buried. Yes, Chris, Chris is right. Pituophis is the word I was looking for. That was the word of the day that I learned on Saturday. And Chris has all sorts of Pituophis. If you know what that word is, Chris is your man. All right. So it was kind of a convenient break. We talked a little bit about the scene. We talked about Tinley. I'll let you all spill the beans on the number one snake that you bought. You said you bought 11. Why don't you tell us like the top 3 that you bought? One of the topics was, what are we buying right now from an investment standpoint and from a looking forward standpoint? Why is it important to you? So tell us, I don't know, each choose one and then tell us that number one that you bought too.
So so we'll leave the good one for the very last.
You mentioned the Sterling puzzle.
Okay.
Sterling puzzle. Yeah. All right. And that's make sure I got the nickname right. That's Super Pastel Cinnamon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the second one I'm going to have to say is the paint stuff.
Oh, cool.
So we got a couple visual paints. And then our third one is, this is the one I wanted, because it's just going to do so much for my collection. I mean, I was jumping for joy on this one. I
think y'all were standing right in front of me when Natalie came up and was like, I got it, or I just got it, or you're not going to believe what I just got. I think. Was that the first that you had told each other that you got this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I ended up, so I'm going to back up just for a minute. So a couple of weeks before coming to the show, I really wanted a clown pied. And, I was like, I got all this stuff in here, and, I have, a clown hypo, I have a clown albino, I have a clown this, and I have a clown that, I have a pied this, a pied that, hypo this, hypo that type stuff. And, and I'm like, man, and I have all these boys for all these females. And I'm like, man, I just need one male to be able to go into all these females.
Right.
And I just need to grow up a male to go into all these females that have all these certain genes. So I finally got my triple visual hypo clown pied.
Nice. And congratulations.
And he's also Mojave Inchi Disco.
I don't think I saw that animal. I don't think I got to see it. I saw the bag. I don't think I saw it though.
I think he was already tied up.
Yeah, he was tied up.
We should probably mention who he came from.
Yeah, he came from so, you know, we do all have a hard time seeing, even, you know, so but the disco is, you can see it so much into the side pattern. The problem is you really, he's little, and the more it's going to come out more and more,
Yeah.
the way it comes
Sure.
out. But it's really faint there. I have a lot of disco. That's something that I'm really into. Rainbow disco, you know, hypo
Oh, wow.
stuff, you know. And so, but in saying that, that was the most important part of that, Snake, was the disco, honestly, because have you guys ever seen what a super disco looks like?
I don't think that I have. I'm sure people in the audience have.
It's not what you would expect, and it's definitely not a white snake. You know, it's all crazy patterned. It's phenomenal.
Sounds like it fits the name even better then.
Right,
Yeah.
it does, and so could you, you know, my whole thought right there is with all these, you know, double visuals that I have and triple hets that I have, and you know, single, you know, visual or recessives with double hets or a single het, you know, you put this boy in there, regardless of what they have, that disco is what I want to see, you know, make these
I see. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So, and then, you know, to make the super disco with that after making those is going to be just a whole nother game changer in a triple recessive. So I mean, in all these different recessives. So, you know, that's what I want to see. I want to see super disco in all these different recessives and see what it really does to the pattern, you know, to, you know, hypo with cypress, you know, and hypo with, you know, and even in monsoon, you know, we talk about it, you know, the things that, you know, it's hard to break up stuff in monsoon. Well, will that super disco do it? You know,
I'm willing to find out, right? Yeah.
exactly. So that's where I'm headed. I'm headed in kind of down that, you know, that area. Same way with blackhead stuff. I got into blackhead late, and I'm just loving the things that blackhead does. It's just phenomenal. So I finally produced my first, you know, yellow belly blackhead pieds. So, you know, and they're gorgeous, you know. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I do a lot of everything across the board, and I don't do it for, like I said, not always for the money aspect. I do it for what I'm trying to produce for myself to see, you know, do I want to keep carrying on with this certain project, or do I want to, you know, swap it over to this one, you know, type deal. And
Yeah.
so if it either works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the only way you find out is to try it. And that's where it is for me. I'm not scared to try it. Rather, you know, other people are like, man, that's going to turn out ugly, or, you know, that I would never do that breeding, or this or that. Well, you know, I do what makes me floats my boat.
And they're not you. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, you know, and it's a lot of times told me, you know, people have said, don't do this to this, and I've done this to this, and it turned out to be like, how'd you make that? Well, I made it just like you told me not to do. You know,
yeah.
Like,
he'll say something like, I gotta see it for myself. Like, he'll get some advice, and of course he takes the great advice and takes advice in general from those he trusts, but he'll also say sometimes, I just need to see it for myself.
That was continues to be my argument about doing shows. I'm like, you know, I'm okay with that being your conclusion for you.
Right.
But I think I see an angle for me, and we all have our own, like, sure, strengths and weaknesses, but maybe if we're lucky, we even maybe have like one little superpower that we can leverage somehow, or we have an unfair advantage on a community, or whatever it might be, or like you say, you're good friends with, and rightly so, and you've earned it with the promoter, or whatever. You know, we all get just a little, some kind of advantage that we can accentuate. So yeah, I'm just a stubborn too. When people are like, yeah, you can't do that one. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's see. It might take me a couple of years, but I'll see you. I will see you then.
Sorry, I was just gonna add to that a little bit. I don't think I would do as much as I do if it weren't for the shows. Like, that is the most enjoyable times for me in the industry, and like, raising the snakes and rats and the things that we do at home. That's the most fun that I have is at the shows.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I go back to music or even restaurants. I mean, they're both grueling lifestyles, but I might have even been with you all. I was joking with somebody about like, oh no, it's the REDLINE team. I was like, guys, they were talking about being on their feet for so long. It was like, this is how you do the stretch and sit down. And it's like the squat. And they're like, look at me. I was like, I've eaten so many dinners just sitting squatting this way, just scooping food. Yeah. And then you jump back up and it's not about like the duration or the work ethic. There was 5 of us squatted down eating dinner that way. And there's like a special moment,
you don't think about it because it all becomes natural. It's just part of your routine,
Yeah.
As musicians, even, it's like you're saying, you don't think about standing, 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever your show's going to be during that time. It's just like
the love
it's
behind
the
it.
love. Yeah. It's the love behind it.
Yeah.
It's after you've done, and then you finally unwind, and it's just like, oh shoot, man, I am beat.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
well,
you don't second guess it though. You keep going.
Yeah. And it's even magnified when you're on tour and you're like, all right.
Oh yeah. It's
5 hours tomorrow. And then the hurry up and wait, and then the hurry up and wait. But anyway, that's a different show, different topic for a different show. You all were going, I think it was on the tip of your tongue. I think it's a good policy that we could talk about who the breeder was, or we could talk about the price, but we shouldn't do both. So you choose which you want to talk about.
Well, he's my boy, and Jason Amos is the one I got it from.
Oh, cool. Okay. He was just on Clutch, Herp Collectors, right? Mike's show? Yeah, Mike's so. Fantastic. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and and Jason's a very, very good guy, So when I got into this, he's another one of my mentors. I love banana. I know a lot of people frown on banana, but I have to have it in everything. And
it's on my table.
Yeah.
So anyway, he taught me everything about how the banana genetics works, and all that stuff, because I had so much in it, and it was driving me nuts when I first got into the banana, and so Jason kind of gave me a play-by-play, what odds, how you get female makers, how you do this, how you do that, and he was actually the first person or the second person that I bought. He's the first person that I bought a female pastel GHI leopard stranger double het from, female.
Jeez. Okay.
And and I've bought all kinds of other things from him, so within saying that, Jason gave me a good price because I buy quite a bit from him.
Right.
So,
right.
that in itself is what gets you some good deals on top of the deals that you get at the show, is buying, being a return customer to somebody.
Or multiple.
Yeah.
Or, so, I got a smoking deal on that
cool.
That animal.
That's cool.
So, I that's why I was doing so many somersaults, because, she,
right.
she was out there, tearing it up. I was like, I was sitting back like, here, babe, have another drink.
Go get another one. It's a great point that you bring up about relationships and pricing, though, because it does play into it, and
yeah,
it can benefit the customer, but it also benefits the breeder, and they're happy. Context matters. I remember I was walking through, and I just had to remind myself. I saw a friend, and he said, "Oh man, I got a clown pie." I was like, "Dude, congratulations!" And he told me what we paid for it, and I was like, I just sold 2 bananas for damn near that price. I was like, oh my gosh. And he said, well, first, I'm not going to tell you who it is. Second, I've probably spent, he said, I've probably spent $10,000 or $15,000 with that guy. And I said, okay, well, never mind. All my commentary, I take every bit of my reaction back, because we do that stuff for people.
That's right.
You know, and part of it's just a way to say thanks and give gratitude. If you know, if you got it and somebody else has helped you out, and a snake will make their day, or a good price will make their day, then do it. It feels good, I think, sometimes too. I mean,
it does. I wouldn't have some of the things in my collection if it wasn't some of those guys that just, you know, like at the very beginning when I started this for my son, you know, and I was telling everybody that, you know, he was wanting to do a school project, and, you know, we were interested in getting some good genes and some stuff like that. Then I had a lot of good major breeders step up and give us things for like crazy money, you know. I mean, I can honestly tell you and go through and tell you all the individuals, and it's crazy that I have a memory like this, but I can tell you everybody I bought the snake from and what snake it was. And and some of my biggest people is like Eric Walsh from Monster Morphs. You know, we got some, you know, I got into the Jaguar gene, and from Michael Graham from Canada, you know, Blackheart Exotics, and you know, I got me a male. Well, that male didn't go too well, you know, at first. So, you know, Mike did send me a new one, but during this time, Mike and Chris were making Jaguar clowns, and I'm just trying to make a Jaguar albino, you know. So, so I'm that year I killed it on the Jaguar albinos after you know, I got another snake. But Eric, you know, killed it on making some of the coolest clowns. And I was like, man, you know, tried to do a certain deal with him, and he was like, no, I sold you all my albino females, man. So I don't need a Jaguar albino. You know, I was trying to do a trade with one of the clowns, but, you know, Eric, you know, because I bought so much from him. I mean, I'm going to say, you know, a good portion of my collection's from Eric, who turned me on to Tony Thomas from Hardwire Exotics, and, you know, and who Tony turned me on to Chris Davenport from these Exotics. So within those 3 guys, I want to say a good, you know, third of my collection is from them.
Yeah, you find people that you trust and it goes well. It's almost like, why would you look elsewhere? Yes, we want to support the community. Yes, there's always like the new people that we want to support, but there's also that comfortability, but also your projects start to align. If you're buying their stuff and you're adding to it, the stuff that they're adding to the previous or to the next generation to go with yours is going to multiply and magnify better as well. So all that kind of makes sense to go together, you know?
Well, you know, I got redhead, and I found out that Chris was doing redhead, and so was Eric Walsh, and I was doing redhead. And so it helped in my projects, because they made certain things in the redhead that I didn't have that gave me a boost, like, you know, getting, you know, pastel redhead het clown, you know. So, you know, Mel, which, you know, made me make those redhead clowns, or redhead, you know what I'm saying? Same way with the Jaguar stuff. You know, Erica made those Jaguar clowns, and I was like, bro, I really need one of those. And he's like, well, you know, you've bought so much from me, you know, I'll give you a smoking deal. And I was like, you know, okay, I'll jump on that, you know. And then I was like, man, because I wanted a female, and then I was like, you know what, man, can I change my mind? You know, can I have a male instead? You know, but I ended up with both. You know, so I ended up with both. You know, I mean,
do you want us to show a couple snakes, a Jaguar clown?
Well, I would. The connection's not great. It's not going to come through very well is the problem. So I'd rather talk about it. I was going to ask you, whatever happened with the Jaguar gene? There was kind of a pop on it. And then I was like, what? I hadn't heard that mentioned in a year.
I think it's because it's here. You know, Justin came out with a killer, you know, combo clown. I think what it is that, you know, it just ain't mainstream quite yet. I think it's coming.
Yeah.
I just think that, you know, like the way the market is and just how everything's fluctuating, you know, it's just like all these new genes from Tinley that I see, the scrambler, the cantaloupe, all these new things that people are coming out with. You know, it's hard to get stuff out there. You know,
it is. Well, and I was going to say, I mean, is it just a lack of sort of like, you got to have a good cult, right? Like, you got to have a good cult of Sunset, or a good cult of Pompeii or Stranger or whatever it might be. Like, you got to have a
and enough people interested in it. And you also, I think people want to see, what does it do in this gene? What is it going to do with this one? Like, they want to see multiple examples, not just the beginning stages, before they really get excited about it.
Right. And I have to, that cult of thing is a little tongue in cheek. It's still got to be cool. It's still got to deliver at the end of the day. You can't just have, you know, this hypothetical, but you can't just have a new, like, allele of pastel and have this cult and it's going to be amazing. No, if it's still just pastel, then it's just pastel. It's still got to be cool. The goods got to deliver at the end of the day. But you know, that's something that social media has been really, really amazing about, and good for those people that have used it. And I was going to ask you all, like, for the people in the audience. So we've been floating between 40 and 50 people all night tonight, and you've been talking about some killer stuff. How can they see what you've got? Like, the people that haven't experienced or met you all or done business with you, like, I think there's a whole new audience for you all. I know Instagram, but like, you guys got to jump in. You said you didn't list on Morph Market, not a whole lot on Instagram. Where do they see what you're doing?
We're definitely coming to the Pack Nurse shows. The Pacific Northwest is going to be the #1. Aside from that, I mean, we have started working on our website more.
Oh, okay.
There's more. Yeah. So we're adding more animals. That's been a slow process. You know, we're family people. This is our passionate hobby. But we also have other businesses and, of course, our children to tend to.
So we're
working on it.
Yeah, we are. I'm more or less this quiet guy in a corner that you know, just is like a mushroom and eats shit. You know, and you know, I just sit there in the dark and I do this, and when I pop something cool that I think's cool enough to show, I'll slap it on Facebook and Instagram. But you know, I really don't flaunt what I have for the most part. Let's say, you know.
Sure, but I mean, from a sales standpoint, and you put it in good context. If it's a hobby and you got life going on, we didn't even, and I don't want to, but we didn't even scratch the surface of the home life and the stuff that you all do as who you are, and that takes a lot of time too. So yeah, I get it. I retract a little bit of if there was any shade, as the kids say there, I retract that. But I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing what you got, though.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you know, and I want to show it. It's not that I don't want to show it, but when you're sitting here and you have close to 500 animals, you know, it's a lot. You know, you got to pick and choose, like, man, what do I want to show that's cool? And realistically, you know, quite a bit of it's cool, you know, or all of it's cool, you know, from my rainbow stuff to you know, my Jaguar stuff to I got all these weird genes that, you know, only a few people have, like Striker, you know, I just got some new ones called the Terminator and Predator. You know, I got Sunset. I have Monsoon. I have so much stuff, you know, but I don't, like I said, you're right. I don't really post much about it. I don't do any of that stuff about it because I'm over here trying to make world's first if I can. And you know what? That's another thing. A couple of years ago, I was posting things that I wanted to do. Like I was going to put Stranger and what was it? Mahogany together, because everybody was saying they were the same. So I wanted to be the first one to do that. And I posted that I was going to do these breedings and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, everybody's doing these breedings that I posted. And not saying that they copied me or took my advice or anything else like that, but they beat me to it. So it kind of, that's another reason why I'm quiet and I sit in the corner, because I don't want people to know what I'm doing until my stuff is out.
Yeah, I do. I had a conversation this weekend. It'd be a neat show topic. Like we could go like, and I know that when we talked in person, I know you'll have a busy evening tonight, so not too long here. But there was a whole topic of conversation I was having with somebody who'd been around a long time in the industry, you know, how much do you build it up before you want to put it out? But if you do that, does it shoot you in the foot because other people with odds and luck, do they hit it before you do? Because we all know 1 second we can have great odds and the next second we can get a whole clutch of normal looking snakes that are double het males, and you go, great, another year kind of thing. It was a really, that'd be a cool like round table for like, get 3 breeders that have been at it for more than 10 years. Cause I know everybody who's been at it for more than 10 years has like a pet project that would be their own.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be an interesting topic.
It would be. It'd be a good one.
Okay. So now that you've crossed off the pod, clown, hypo, see, I got this feeling, I got this belief that if I'm striving for things, I work hard. But then when I get the thing, I get real lazy. You can't go getting lazy now that you got your pod clown hypo.
We're already talking about quad and you know 5 het recessives. That's on the way home. We were already just we could make quads. We could make 6 het animals. We could make it's like there's the possibilities are endless now for me, and that's kind of where it's at. I can put that in my rainbow female and make
right.
She's hypo, so make hypo triple hets.
Quad hets
or quad, yeah, right. Or no,
visual
quad
hypo.
Hets.
Okay, yeah, or visual hypo triple het.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, just things like that. So it's like, man, the possibilities are endless. So like putting it in DG, DG, make clowns that are, or DG clowns that are, double, just things like that. It's just crazy, the stuff that we can do now. And I'm, it just changed my whole collection in a huge way. That,
right.
And it just gave me so many more snakes to sell.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So back to my, in my mind, and it's the difference. It's that everybody has their own outlook, their own resources, their own needs. If you have other thriving businesses, you don't have to worry about this. Where I'm going, this would be my thriving business. You got to sell this stuff. You got to put this out there. You got to, make the most of Instagram and Morph Market, and you are on the show here. So I bet you're going to get people figuratively knocking on your door about some animals. So, okay. In the absence of which you do have Instagram, and it is listed in the description down below, as well as Morph Market. Where's your next show? Where can people come see you in person?
So we will be at the Hillsboro
this weekend.
The Packner show in Hillsboro.
Oh,
so
like 3 nights, like 3 days from now.
Yes.
Yep.
In Hillsboro.
So that's what I say. I hustle, man. Last minute to Tinley, come home, get a day's worth of. I mean, I went and picked up those snakes from Tinley today,
from the FedEx.
From FedEx, and then doing all that stuff, getting ready for this podcast, and then tomorrow start going through all my collection and, what am I taking? What's going to the show, and hopefully have everything figured out and packed Thursday to leave Friday morning.
Man,
so it's like
how
squeeze them in.
Just occurred to me, how difficult was it to stick a triple visual in a FedEx box and hope everything went okay?
Well, with REDLINE shipping, we
That's
definitely
true.
felt confident.
Cool. Did you use them?
Shipping, thank you very much.
And can I tell a little personal story about REDLINE shipping? Well, he's doing the paperwork behind it. And they had like all these fun goodies. They had free shirts if you wore it in and took a picture. They were just promoting it big time. And I've heard Robin's name. However, I just saw a gentleman walking by and snag up one of the last little scraper tools. They had like detailing REDLINE tools. And I was just being funny. And I was like, excuse me, you just stole mine. And little did I know he was Robin. Fortunately, he has a great sense of humor.
He does. He does. He's a great guy. He's been fantastic to me. Like I say, everybody in the audience, Thursday morning, I'll give my version of events at Tinley and unpack my experience there. But yeah, Robin was at the center. I think I made the comment 4 times this weekend. Up until 10 days before that Friday, my plan was to be sitting on the couch watching football that weekend, and boom, there I was vending in Tinley. And then you all, a little teaser for those of y'all that don't know, you all saw come Sunday. It's like being stoked that you're gonna get that you're gonna be like the opening afternoon slot at an arena festival show, and
I
then
know
being like,
you had a smoking spot. Your spot was.
It was hot.
It was a good spot.
Great.
Man.
Yeah, and then being like, you know what? Why don't you headline Friday night of the festival instead of the Wednesday afternoon gig? I'm like,
right.
All right, I'm here, man. I'll do it. I'm not going to turn it down, So, all right. Well, I want to say thank you to you all. I know we did this on short notice, and I'm a little scrambled tonight too. And I know you all have to have a little something to get to before too long. Come back. You got to come back again. You guys got a whole lot going on, more than I realized, and more than I think anybody else realized. You're great people, and for whatever it's worth, I think you should post some animals and sell them, get some money coming in. But I think I would love to hang out with y'all. I got to get out to the Northwest. We didn't even talk about your music room. We got to make some noise, crank up the amps, have a good time.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you.
It would be a blast.
Yeah.
So, all right, go. You said it's Hillsboro or Hillsdale?
Hillsboro,
and that's in Oregon.
Near Portland.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check out QBall Morphs, everybody. Go give them a follow. You can follow them on Morph Market too. Even if they're not all that active, they do have a Morph Market there. And take their lead on the community and get involved in the community, be a part of it, do something good out there. I promise you, Wayne and Natalie have. You guys don't even have an idea. I only have a smidgen of an idea. But I want to say thank you all, and thanks to the sponsors. Everybody, next week, Bob Vu, same place, same time. I will be on time. And Wayne and Natalie, we're going to do this again. I got to figure out when our paths are going to cross again.
Yeah,
yes.
It'd be awesome. And I appreciate you having us on here.
It's my pleasure. It truly was. And I think I even said it during the when we were talking, hey, if it's 90 minutes and we got a whole lot more to cover, that just means we do another show down the road. So here we are.
Yes. I'm all for it. Anytime that you have a space open, just throw me a email or an Instagram text or whatever you want, and then we'll work it out.
All right. Sounds good. I thank y'all so much. Keep doing the good stuff that I know that you're doing. Thanks for everything, guys. Thanks for the support to me too. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here we go. Stick around just a second.